first let me just say sorry for taking so long for this video. Some things came up and I had to put this on hold. Anyway, my Fixing Jurassic World Dominion video reached 1K views, so as promised, I would do a behind the scenes video of sorts to reward you all. The main idea of my rewrite was to make the threat be the dinosaurs and make it be the epic conclusion as it was marketed to be. My original idea was to have Biosyn use the mind control chips from Camp Cretaceous to wreak havoc in populated areas. But when I saw Clayton Faridi's video, Why the Jurassic Park Sequels Need Michael Crichton, where he suggested the movies should bring DX from The Lost World, and seeing other fans suggest it, I figured I might as well go the DX route. Someone actually commented and told me he heard the film was going to use DX, but due to, well, you know what, they changed it to the Locust. If that was the case, they should have stuck with DX, because it would be even more relevant. Another idea I got from Clayton Faridi was when he stated he wasn't a fan of the ending, so I had things left ambiguous, leaving up to humanity's choices. My rewrite would also fix issues such as making Macy's origins less convoluted, having Dachshund be like how he was in the books, giving the Giganotosaurus a better role, having Rexy play a bigger part, reducing the ridiculous plot armor, and better fan service. I also integrated the scrapped scene of Grant and Owen facing off against a Pyroraptor. I had a lot of ideas, such as inserting cameos from past movies during Ian's speech while watching the news, but decided to limit it just to Sarah Harding, as her appearance would bring closure to her and Ian's relationship. Speaking of Ian, his speech was taken from Michael Crichton's first book, where while high on morphine from the T-Rex attack, Ian went on this whole tangent after Hammond said the disaster had been averted. I took other things from Michael Crichton's books as well. Of course there was DX, but I also got Ornitholestes from the books. Ornitholestes was featured in the second book as a corpse that got washed onto the shores of Costa Rica, but its remains were burned down by the government to keep dinosaurs' existence a secret, and DX from getting into the mainland. I also integrated the scene when I had Dachshund's men burning the infected dinosaurs with flamethrowers. On the topic of Dachshund, my version of Dominion had Dachshund die by getting blinded and tossed by a big dilo, then fall down a hill breaking his ankle and getting infected with DX. This was a combination of Nedry's death and Hammond's death in the first book. In the book, Hammond was more like Mr. Burns, something the Simpsons totally nailed when they parodied Jurassic World in Treehouse of Horror 29. At the end of the book, he fell down a hill, breaking his ankle after being scared by a T-Rex roar and an audio speaker, then got swarmed by compies. Nedry in the book died like how he did in the movie, except it was outside the Jeep and more graphic. Also, the Dilo's size was accurate, as in taller than a human. Before the Dilos returned in Dominion, there was tie-in material that suggested that the Dilos could grow to full size, like the picture I used was featured from a scrapped webcomic. I was kinda hoping that in Dominion's return, we'd have a small one lead up to the reveal of a big one, but it didn't. So, mine had that. With how Dachshund died in my version of Dominion, I figured the antagonist, who is the catalyst of everything that went wrong in the first Jurassic Park, should have had a fate worse than being eaten by carnivores. One reference I had to the book was with the Memorial of Wu at Stanford, as the book stated he got his doctorate there. Also, Ian having to use a crutch is a reference to the Lost World book. He was presumed dead in the first Jurassic Park, but he was actually alive, and just had to use a crutch in the second book. In my fixed version, I added some new characters. One of them was Willard Levine, an ex-Biosyn employee who got thrown into the mines to prevent him from spilling any secrets. Willard Levine is a nod to Richard Levine from the Lost World book. In the book, Richard Levine was a rich paleontologist who came off as pompous and arrogant, and a bit crazy, at least for me. I figured this version would be crazy, as he was trapped down in the mines for a while. Another new character added was Erin Shodasak, Kayla's co-pilot and lover. Her name is a reference to Ernest Shodasak, one of the directors for the original King Kong, who, fun fact, had a cameo in the movie as one of the gunners who shot down the ape, something that Peter Jackson would repeat in his own remake. Other new characters were Regina and Roy, Rexy's offspring. As mentioned in my video, they were a combination of the Buck and Doe Rex from the Lost World movie and the juvenile Rex from the first book. I got the name Regina from the name of the protagonist of the Dino Crisis games, which, fun fact, Regina means queen in Latin. As for Roy, well, it was the only cool name that kept up with the R-named theme, although Roy is the name of another redheaded video game protagonist. But while writing the script, I remembered there was an explorer by the name of Roy Chapman Andrews, who's credited as discovering the dinosaur Oviraptor and is considered by many the inspiration for Indiana Jones. So there. In my version, Rexy beat Zeb on her own and died from her wounds. I felt the need that Rexy should have died, as many film finales had key characters dying. Plus, it would make sense thematically, as being the last dinosaur from the original park, her death would symbolize the end of an era. While writing the script for my rewrite, I almost cried when I finished this part, because I could almost see it. Rexy saying farewell to her offspring as she breathed her last moments, while a sad version of the music when she crashed the visitor center in the first film played. So that's the behind the scenes for my Fixing Jurassic World Dominion video. What'd you think? Again, thank you so much for the 1K views for my biggest and proudest project of last year. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you really enjoyed it, share, and subscribe.